Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina and I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video, I am introducing my Pan That palette for 2022. I showed you my contenders for my Pan That palette for 2022 in my finale for 2021. My theme for this project for 2022 is something old and something new. Before we get into the video, if you are new around here and you want to keep up to date on this project pan and all my other project pans that I am doing this year, I hope you would consider subscribing down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. As I said, my theme for this year, for this project, is something old and something new. So that means that at all times throughout this year in this project, I want to be working on an older face palette in my collection and a newer face palette in my collection. For the older face palette in my collection, I decided to grab out what I think is my oldest face palette in my collection. And it is my Tarte Off the Cuff blush palette. This is a Christmas blush palette from many years ago. I would like to hit some more pans in this palette. So far, I've hit one pan in the middle here, but there are 3 other blushes in here that I haven't hit pan on yet, and there is also the bronzer. My goal for this one for this year, I think, is to hit pan on maybe at least 2 pans in this palette. I think that's a reasonable goal, at least 2. And then because this year I'm thinking of switching it up maybe every quarter, or at the halfway mark, I might swap out my palettes. That's the first palette that I am going to be working on in this project. So wish me luck on this one. I would like to see that palette a little bit more used and abused considering how old it is. And then for my new palette, I don't think this is my newest face palette, but it might be like my 2nd or 3rd newest. I definitely purchased this one this year. However, this one did get a lot of votes in my finale. So I did decide to succumb to the masses. And I'm going to include my Charlotte Tilbury face palette in this project. This is the Instant Look of Love in a palette in Glowing Beauty. So this is essentially a full face palette because it does have eyeshadows in here. It's got a bronzer, a face palette, highlighter, and blush in the palette. I have been working on this a little bit already. So far, I am finding kind of some downsides to the palette. I think it's more of a personal thing though, because I personally like to use like big brushes for bronzer and big brushes for face powder. So I am having a little bit of trouble accessing like the bronzer and the powder, the face powder, because I like to use such big brushes when it comes to those 2 items. But so far I'm enjoying it, and I do hope that I can at least hit pan on definitely the face powder, because I can use this quite a lot. Maybe one of the eyeshadows, potentially the blush and the bronzer. I don't know, that's probably being very ambitious, but I think if I use this very regularly, I can at least get a couple of pans on it as well before I decide to flip them out. I think it will definitely just depend on how I feel and how I feel around that quarter mark. If I do want to continue on with these, I definitely will, but I will definitely switch them out at some point. I will continue with that something old, something new theme throughout the year. If I do decide to switch these out every quarter, it might be the case that I choose another pair and I do this pair for the 1st quarter, the other pair for the 2nd, come back to this for the 3rd, and then go back to the other one for the 4th, just so it's constantly switching up and I'm not getting totally bored using the same thing for the whole year. Let me know down in the comments whether you are planning on doing a Pan That face palette for 2022 and which palette you have chosen. While you're down there, if you did enjoy this video, I hope you would give it a big thumbs up. If you are new around here and you haven't already, I hope you would consider subscribing down below so you can keep up to date on all my project panning videos coming throughout this year. That's it for this video, beautiful. I hope that you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I hope that you are staying safe and healthy and looking after yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, beautiful.